Just let us know. Okay, perfect. There everyone is. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the Community Network meetings with Denver Human Services. Today we have interpretation here as part of our commitment to language justice. So we encourage everyone to enter in and participate in this meeting with the language of your heart.
Buenos días a todos, bienvenidos a la Junta de la Red de Comunidad y por parte de los Servicios Recursos Humanos de Denver, Colorado, y queremos dejarles saber que va a haber interpretación al español y pueden ustedes escoger el idioma en el que gustan obtener esta información. Escójanlo porque tenemos equidad de lenguaje de acuerdo a lo que su corazón les dicte. Buenos días.
In the bottom right-hand corner, there is a little globe that says interpretation. Please hit that and choose English or Spanish, and then you'll be sent to your various rooms.
En la parte baja de la pantalla encontrarán un icono que es una ruedita como un planeta a la derecha, parte baja. Háganle clic, eso los llevará a dos botones que dicen inglés o español y pueden escoger el idioma en el que van a obtener esta información. No se olviden de apagar el video que está pasando para que el sonido, para que no haya interferencia.
Thank you. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Patrice Hawkins to give us our introduction.
Patrice Hawkins nos va a dar nuestra introducción. Can I have a channel? The Spanish channel, please.
All right, good morning, everyone. We're just gonna get Soraya switched over to the Spanish channel and then I'll start. Okay, all right, great. Thank you all so much for being here. Good morning and welcome to the July DHS Community Network meeting. If I haven't met you yet, my name is Patrice Hawkins, and I am the Deputy Executive Director of Community Impact and Strategic Planning. Earlier this year, we hosted a series of community conversations with partners, residents, stakeholders from across the city, and we received some feedback that sometimes our community was not aware of all of the services that we provide, which is a really big deal to us. We want people to know about the services we have out there, how to reach us, if you need help, if your customers need help, changes, what's new that's going on. So this was a big deal for us to hear that feedback. To respond to this ask for more communication about our services, every quarter, we are actually hosting a DHS specific session where we spend a little more time on program updates and giving you an opportunity to learn about some of the unique programs we house at DHS, while also getting to know a few of our team members, which I think is really important for members of the community to be able to put a face with a name, to know some of our staff and our team members who are doing an amazing job running these programs. But also, I think because there's been a lot of changes throughout COVID, we've gone online, we've gone virtual, we've tried to innovate with our practices to reach people better. So we want to keep you updated. So today's agenda, you'll be hearing from our Parenthood and Fatherhood programs, Snap to Success, which is an exciting employment and training program, and also our adult protective services, which is extremely important. I think we've all seen as we're a little more spread out these times, how do we still stay in contact with a lot of members of the community or our neighbors or our friends and family. So when I think of community impact, I want to make sure we are just sharing updates, that it's always about building relationships and communicating about the benefits of our various programs. But most importantly, connecting you with the information that is helpful when it is most needed. So everyone you see on the call today at Denver Human Services, please reach out to us if you have questions. I always have an open door policy. I love hearing from community and community members or learning about your organizations or how we can continue to partner. So I'm honored that today we get to spotlight several programs at Denver Human Services. I hope you will ask questions if you have them. And just thank you so much for joining us this morning. And really a big thank you to all of our presenters today. Happy Friday, everyone. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Katie Ziegler to take us into the session.
Great. Thank you so much, Patrice, for that introduction. We are so excited to have everybody here. Just a couple of reminders. This meeting is being recorded, so please don't share any contact information that you wouldn't want to be public facing, but we will be posting this meeting in a couple days after this session so that you can come back and record for it and come back and see and tap into any of those resources that we share today. So with that, we have a little game we like to play. So that you can go to www.kahoot.it on your phone and enter the game pin in. About halfway through today's session, we will ask you a couple of questions and the winners at the end will receive a $5 Amazon gift card. The trick here is to be quick and to be accurate. So points are awarded to those who get the answer right in the fastest amount of time. So please join us in on that. And I'll have either Craig or Kathy drop that in the chat so that you can access that once we get to that point in the session. So I already see a couple of names popping up, so feel free to join that as we continue on. I am so excited to announce that DHS is going to be running a Human Together Unsung Heroes program. So when we did our community conversations, what we realized is that there are so many phenomenal leaders in our community who are doing amazing work at making sure that our neighbors have the resources that they need, that they're staying connected, and they're helping everyone in their community. And we want to be able to have an opportunity to recognize the work that's being done through those different leaders who may not receive the recognition that we give to others. And so we have set up this program to help nominate the work that's being done and truly honor what they are doing in our community on a day-to-day basis. So that nomination is opening up today. You guys are the first to hear about it. Submissions are due by July 30th, and we will do an announcement of the 10 winners on August 30th. And so what does a Human Together Unsung Hero look like? That would be a leader who is committed to empowerment, impact, leadership, and innovation. It could be a youth who is really involved in volunteer work. It could be a phenomenal board member who has truly helped your organization. It could be somebody who is all about racial and social justice, anything like that, anything that you can think of that's helping support your community and really the grease between the gears to make sure that we have a healthy and thriving community. I encourage you to submit a nomination. So I will also make sure that that goes in the chat as well. And we will go ahead and get started with our first presenter, Alex Garcia, who will be talking about our Parenthood Program.
Good morning. This is Alex Garcia. I will be talking specifically more about the Fatherhood Program, and I will have a co-worker and person talking about the Parenthood Program. That's Stephanie Bovian shortly after me. So I've got a lot to say here. I'll try and get it out, but I will take my time explaining all of this stuff. Again, thank you for participating this morning and allowing me to present on the Fatherhood Program. So this Fatherhood Program at Denver County Human Services was created many years ago, and we were formed underneath the umbrella of child welfare through the care center at the department. And we've been working with fathers who are involved in dependency and neglect cases for a number of years. We opened it up to pretty much everybody that walked through the Denver County Human Services door. It's a free of charge. There's no charges. We do not charge anybody. It's a free class that we provide. So some of the things that we're doing now, we've partnered with Child Support a few years back to provide resources and referrals and get these gentlemen in our classes. And Some of those classes that we're providing currently are the Nurturing Fatherhood class. We're providing resources and referrals for Nurturing Parenting classes as well. Those are more focused on trauma and working through trauma. We do provide these classes in Spanish as well. We're providing support groups, and we are providing, in conjunction with the Parent Program through child support, legal support nights, which I'm sure Stephanie will talk to as well. We are providing guest speakers and trainings for our fathers that are involved in these programs. We have in the past provided educational symposiums where we'll do a weekend-long trainings and education on various topics, ranging from, it could be SNAP, it could be educational programs on GED, and different trainings on cooking as well. So we have in the past also provided fairs, fatherhood fairs, to support the community, full day educational and backpack giveaways. So those are just a few of the things. And some of the bigger things that we're doing now is we're incorporating the 5 protective factors, as well as RAP, which is Wellness Recovery Action Planning, into our fatherhood program. So there'll be a lot of access for that and upcoming trainings and incorporating those programmings. One of the biggest things that has happened for our program is that Denver County has been awarded a grant through the state of Colorado for fatherhood. So we're going to be doing a lot of outreach. We're going to be pulling in some new staff members to help provide some of these services and resources. It's a 5-year grant, which we have to apply every year. But that's pretty common with these things. So we're going to be working on promoting safe and stable families, working with goal setting and accomplishing those goals with our families. And we're going to be piloting different training and educational programs through our Nurturing Fatherhood Program. But most importantly, we're going to be getting out in the community a lot more and doing a lot of more outreach with our community partners. So we've got a lot of important things going on here. So if there's any questions or if there's any comments, concerns, or anything that we can do to help those fathers out in the community, please reach out to myself. We've got a whole staff now that's being designated to work with fathers at the Department of Human Services, and we're going to be doing a lot more trainings within the department. We currently do a lot of trainings with new caseworkers or caseworkers in general in child welfare that focus more on engaging fathers on their treatment plans. We have now been reaching out to other departments within the agency to talk with them about how they're engaging their fathers, whether that's in child support or with FAD or benefits, or any of the community resources that we offer our families. So please reach out to us in any manner and we can get somebody to work with you, come and talk with you, assist in working with families. If you've got team meetings that you're gonna be working with fathers, please let us know. We can participate in those, as well as any court hearings. If fathers are involved with in any form of legal hearings, we can assign staff to participate with those fathers in those court hearings. The judges and the legal system at Denver County has been really open and really enjoying these fathers taking these classes. So they've been starting to court order these from the bench, which is really good to see. We would like to see more of that. So again, please reach out to us. We enjoy working with all of these fathers, not just in child welfare. We're pushing more fatherhood panels within child welfare to get the voice of the father heard more often. We're sending out newsletters. If any of you are interested in getting our fatherhood newsletter to talk about what's been going on within the department and child welfare and with our fatherhood programs, please reach out. Let me know. We can get you on that list as well. And we're continuing doing a lot of fatherhood work within our DEA and I, our diversity, equity, access and inclusion programs through child welfare. So again, please reach out if you have any other questions, if you have fathers that you'd like to refer to the program, if you'd like more information about some of the things that we do, or you'd like to refer a father into a support group or a father in class, or if you're looking for some additional resources that could help benefit a father and his family, please reach out. We can troubleshoot that for you and get you to where you need to be. I really appreciate you taking this time to listen to some of the things I had said about Fatherhood Program. Please reach out if you have any follow-up questions, and I can make myself available. I'll put my contact and all my information in the chat for you guys to reach out for anything in the future. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Alex. Does anybody on the call have any questions for Alex while we're here? Feel free to come off mute if you would like. Just looks like you have some great info from Marlene. So Alex, if you don't mind just dropping your contact information in the chat so that folks can reach out to you. And
absolutely.
We will move on to Stephanie Bobian, who is going to be presenting on the Parenthood Program. And I'm sure she'll be able to speak about the differences between the two. We're seeing it fine on our end.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. Hi guys, I'm Stephanie with the Parenthood Program in Child Support Services. We used to be Fatherhood, but we recently changed our name to Parenthood to be more inclusive. Since we are under the child support umbrella, we work with non-custodial parents who can be, male or female. So it doesn't determine the role of who's paying child support, just whoever has the kid and whoever doesn't have the child. Let me see here, sorry. I have one screen today, so. So the reason we changed it is because, gender doesn't define the need. In our program, we're working about 25% women. So, one of the main differences between Alex's program is he works with fathers and we work with parents. So our mission is helping parents get the skills and support they need to be there for their children financially and otherwise. The way we do that is we work with, we're child support services. We work with community partners and internal programs at Denver Human Services. We work with, Alex's program. We work with FAD. We work with the CORE to kind of just help people navigate through, the systems there. Sorry, hold on. So what we do, so basically we work with non-custodial parents who have employment needs, need help navigating, the benefits in our building. We refer them over to Alex's fatherhood classes. We do education. We help them navigate child support and other services in our building. And then we do individual assessments. And that's the biggest thing is that we give case management to these parents to help them become, financially ready to, pay their child support and be there for their child. The biggest thing we help with is employment and training resources. And here on the screen, these are some of the companies that we partner with. They're not only companies, they're also community partners that we have within the building, like Snap to Success. And then we recently just got a grant as well for our child support, primarily to work with fathers and mothers that are paying child support. And Goodwill is helping them find employment and helping them with other resources. And there's some money that's behind it to get them going. And then we help with legal and supervised visitation. Now, we don't give anybody an attorney or give them any legal advice, but we do have an open family law forum. It used to be in person, and then that all got put on pause during COVID. But recently, about 3 months ago, we turned it into a virtual forum, and there's an attorney there that people can come and talk to. And, she gives kind of general information, and then some people have specific questions that she kind of helps them navigate. And I mean, it's open to anybody in the community. This is here's the link for the open law forum. And I can drop that in the chat as well. It's an Eventbrite form. They just go and they sign up, and it's every third Tuesday of the month that they can talk to someone from child support and an attorney as well. And then we also have some funds if they have a child support case in Denver to pay for some centralized visitation. So if they have a visitation obligation that they have to pay for, we can help them with that. And here's our information. If anybody wants to, reach out to me, refer anybody, there's some things about like having a Denver child support case or whatever, but just feel free if you have a parent that's paying child support and they need any kind of help, just reach out to this, email or phone number, and we can, help them navigate, the ins and outs of where they need to go. And that's all I got. So thank you guys for letting me be here today, and you guys have a great day.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. I'd love to open it up for any questions if anybody has any for you today. Feel free to pop off. Looks like we have Matt Thompson. Is the best way to make a referral by calling one of you?
Yes, so that cssfatherhood@denvergov.org. They can email that email box or call the number. The number is a voicemail, so they just leave a voicemail, but they'll get us faster if they email us at the CSS Fatherhood, and just send us, basic information, and we can help them out.
And what are the eligibility requirements?
So that's another thing. I don't want to get too hung up in the eligibility requirements. So if they have a parent that says anything about child support, we don't mind helping them navigate, if they need to call another county, or because it is for them to work with us specifically, they have to have a Denver child support case and be the non-custodial parent. But then there's other things that open up where we can refer them to, even other grants that we might have that don't have those requirements.
Katie, I have a few questions. It took me a minute to wrap my mind around them. First for Alex and then for Stephanie. Alex, I know you've been working in the Fatherhood Program space for a very long time and are an expert in the field. I'm just curious what why are you so passionate about working in this space, and what are some of the biggest impacts you've seen from this program?
I'm fortunate enough to work in child welfare where I can see the impact occurring with these kids. Well, I mean, from the very beginning, when I started doing this, and when I started my child welfare work well over 20 years ago, the voice of the father was not there. The systems have been created, surrounding the mother in many of the different programs that we've dealt with within just child welfare. And what I'm seeing today, there's a lot of change going on. The importance of the father in his role in the child's life is becoming more relevant and more aware within all the work that we're doing. I could go into several of the different changes that are occurring within the departments that have been mandatory or under some improvement plan that are being force changed. But the awareness that has been occurring by even upper management has been astronomical in creating changes within the department. That goes from all the data entry even into trails, the importance of father, are the questions being asked, all the way from intake. When there's a referral that comes in, are we asking more about father? Are we just, in the past, it's been more of questions about, is dad involved? Okay, that's no, move on. There's more questions that are going on. Is dad involved? Why not? Where is he? Where's the paternal family? Is the paternal family involved? So it's these small changes that are occurring within the department that I'm seeing that is booming my desire to continue working in this. As I was saying in the beginning, I'm fortunate enough to be housed within child welfare where I can see the impact that it's having on the fathers who are involved in their cases. I'm seeing these kids getting returned to families, and not just complete families, but fathers are now taking on the main role as the caregivers. So it's these changes that I have seen from the beginning of my child welfare work 20 years ago to right now, and the progress that we're making within the department is just it's amazing.
Yeah, thank you for that, Alex. I really appreciate it. And Stephanie, I'm curious because you mentioned at the beginning, you said, you know, parenthood, regardless of gender, to also, Alex spoke on the significance of working with fathers. I'm curious if you all do strategic outreach to women or gender non-conforming parents, and just what that has looked like for the Parenthood Program.
Yeah, so previously, before COVID, we were doing a lot of outreach, especially when we changed our name to Parenthood, because that changed about 2 years ago. So we started working with more community partners that had, you know, women only, like, you know, there. Like, so we go to like different places, like, you know, Rosandum Center. We were doing a lot of outreach over there because women would come in sometimes and not have their children. And, you know, we were going there and helping them navigate what they needed. So yeah, we've done some outreach around that, but things have changed and, you know, we don't know what the future looks like. So hopefully we can continue that. We also used to go into the county jails and go to the women pods and talk to some women there as well. So yeah.
Thank you.
Excellent. Well, if anybody else has any questions about these two programs, please feel free to put them in the chat, and Stephanie and Alex will be able to help get you connected with the right resources and the right answers there. So we're going to take a quick break, and I'm going to switch us over to our Kahoot game, where I'll just ask you a couple of quick questions. Again, we will be doing it for a $5 gift card. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Is everyone seeing the Kahoot screen by chance?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. We'll just get a couple folks in there. So you go to www.kahoot.it with the game pin. And I'll start us once we get to 15. How's that sound? So let's get some folks in there. And you can hop on to at any time. I'll have one of my colleagues drop it in the chat. So if you miss this entry point, you can get in there afterwards. Come on, who we got? We got 3 more people. Yes, Monique. You can put in any nickname that you would like if it's appropriate, but just remember that if you do win, to make sure you reach out to me so we can get you that gift card. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and get started with our first question here. Remember, it's whoever's the fastest. The Fatherhood Program is a 2-class program, a 10 to 15 week program, a 1-year program, and a 3-week program. Let's see if Alex mentioned it and if you guys get the right answer in here. And the answer is a 10 to 15 week program. Thumbs up, right, Alex? Okay, awesome. Let's see who took the cake. Looks like Archie's in the lead here. One more question for you all. The Parenthood Program assists with all of the above except for employment, parenting education, legal custody, and child support navigation. And I love this photo so much. Let's see who remembers. Legal custody. Oh, you guys are so smart. Awesome. Well, we will stop right there, and I am going to switch gears here. We are going to bring on our very own Brittany Polinsky, who will be talking about our Snap to Success program. We're so happy to have you with us, Brittany. Take it away.
You all see my screen okay?
Yep.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brittany Polinsky. Like Katie said, I am the program manager for Snap to Success at Denver Human Services. And I'm going to give you a bit of an overview of what Snap to Success offers, as well as how you can refer customers to us. So Snap to Success was formerly known as Employment First. If many of you might be familiar with that name, a year ago, we took the opportunity to rebrand and change our name to really reflect the mission and vision of what Snap to Success offers. So just FYI, other counties are still called Employment First. So if you see Adams County or a different county, they are still called Employment First, but we call ourselves Snap to Success in Denver. So Snap to Success really is looking to strengthen the economic well-being, mobility, and resiliency of SNAP recipients. SNAP recipients being those that receive food assistance. We look to do that by assisting with employment and training needs. And those can really vary depending upon what the customer's goals are, as well as the different needs that they might have. Our long-term goal is to really promote that long-term self-sufficiency and independence of SNAP recipients through those employment and work-related resources, coaching, education, and training activities. So how do we do that? We provide a variety of services. It can really be assisting with those that are just entering the workforce, that are maybe a younger, 18, 19 years old, and are needing assistance with basic employability skills, maybe GED assistance, all the way to, we've worked with an individual this year who had a master's in social work, and really all she needed was assistance with networking skills. So really, it kind of spans the gamut of the different services that we can offer. But if it's employment and training related, and the person is receiving food assistance or could receive food assistance, we want to assist. We also can assist with job retention services as well. So if an individual is working and is needing assistance with making sure they maintain that work, or different supportive services to help them as well. Something that is new and different compared to the past is the different supportive services that we offer. So really our goal in supportive services is to think about the different needs and barriers that might be preventing somebody from participating in employment or training, maybe a cost for a CDL licensing training, or tools for an electrician apprenticeship, or clothing for job interviews or uniforms. Whatever that whatever that need might be, or that barrier might be that might be stopping the individual from participating in employment and training, we can help come alongside that customer and help them with that. We have a list of about 30 different supportive services we can offer, but generally, if it is related to employment and training, we want to be able to assist with it. Beginning this year in October, we will actually be able to offer some additional supportive services as well, like technology assistance for job search. So that's something that we're really looking forward to as well. So as you saw in the Parenthood presentation, we collaborate with internal and external community partners a lot to provide different services for our customers. We have a team of career coaches that works one-on-one with customers and might refer them out to community partners to connect them with specific needs. So we have community partners that work wonderfully and have a network of resources for those that have previous justice involvement, or those that are immigrant or refugees and need those additional specialized services. We also provide referrals to programs to assist with training. It could be upskilling or reskilling. I know that that's a big thing right now that we're hearing a lot in our post-COVID times, is the need for reskilling those individuals that maybe were working in retail and are looking to do something different. So we're able to provide assistance and connections with those different programs, whether it be culinary, information technology, formal apprenticeship programs, If a customer is interested in an employment or training program, we will reach out to community partners to try and connect them with that particular program. And we also work with community partners to assist with immediate needs as well through case management. So, housing access is a big need that we see. And so we'll connect individuals with either community partners or internal programs like our general assistance program that can assist them with that. We also collaborate with the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, WIOA. If you all are familiar with those programs, they offer a variety of different, oftentimes paid training or paid experience opportunities, and we work collaboratively with them as well as Colorado Works programs to offer collaborative case management and really wrap customers in those services without duplicating. We really kind of want to break down those silos and make sure that we're working together to support customers holistically. So when do you refer a customer to us? So if a customer is, or if somebody that you're working with is receiving SNAP assistance or could be receiving SNAP assistance, please, and they're interested in employment and training, please refer them to us. We are also able to work with a customer on employment and training and help them get connected to SNAP at the same time. So they don't have to be enrolled in SNAP first and then be sent to us. We can do that work simultaneously. If you're not sure if a customer does qualify for SNAP, I say still refer them to us. And what we'll do is we'll help them get through that process of working with our eligibility department to apply for SNAP. And then if they don't qualify, we again have that network of community partners that we can refer those customers to that can work with them more long-term. The other piece, of course, is we work particularly with Denver County residents, but we also know all of the local county contacts as well for Employment First programs. So if you're in need of those different contacts, we can definitely help with that as well. So as you're working with customers, if they say or are interested in, needing to explore their interests and really see what do they want to do long-term, what goals and objectives do they have? Are they needing resume or job application assistance, job leads or networking, mentorship? Are they interested in upskilling or training in order to increase their wage capacity? That's really what we're hoping to focus on with customers during this time, as well as how can we assist with that training so that when an individual is ready, they can apply for those roles and have increased wages. And obviously that would help with their long-term self-sufficiency. Also, if you're working with a customer and they talk about different needs they have that they can't pay, and that's what's maybe stopping them for applying for work. We've had, we helped an individual who has needed assistance with a test to be able to have a teaching certificate. She really wasn't kind of internally very down because that barrier of that fee for her training certificate was something that was just weighing on her and she didn't know how she could pay for it. And just removing that barrier and paying that fee for her, my team said that she really lit up and was very excited to be able to continue to use her teaching degree. So some of the different supportive services we offer, I listed here in the presentation as well. Like I said, there's about 30 or so different supportive services, but if it's employment and training related, generally we want to be able to assist with it. So how do you refer customers to us? We really rely heavily on the community as well as internal partners to refer customers to us. A warm referral is ideal. That warm referral, what I mean by that is the customer's aware of that we're going to be contacting them, and you could either connect them to us via email or via phone. That's always a lot better. And then we can also, try and get some information from you around what the customer might need and might be working on to make sure that they're placed with our career coach that can help them with that specific need. Our flyer, that's a copy of our flyer, just a picture of it on the PowerPoint. that has our email and phone. And I know we'll be putting a link in the chat for the actual flyers that you can download it. Please feel free to share it with the community. It's approved for us to, share it far and wide, and it is in English and Spanish for right now. We also are looking for partners to add to our network. So if you are seeing employment and training needs for SNAP recipients come up often in your work, please contact me. I'll put my email in the chat because we really want to see how we can work collaboratively with you as well to maybe have more of a streamlined way of referring customers to us. So once you refer a customer to us, what happens next? We contact them, a member of our Snap to Success team contacts them, learns a little bit about their needs, and then pairs them with one of our career coaching team members to be able to work with them one-on-one for ongoing case management and career coaching. Right now, we're operating primarily virtually via phone, but we are looking to embed ourselves in the community more. So you will see us out in the community at different events or at specific community locations where we're seeing needs come up for employment and training. So that's also a plug I want to make to you all. If you have spaces where you are seeing individuals that would benefit from that employment and training, and we can have a physical presence, can pop in occasionally or create a partnership, we really want to be able to do that. And we'd love to partner with you. And then the last thing I want to share with you all is our Snap to Success email box and phone number. Those are the best ways to get a hold of us. But we also are hosting our first job fair coming up at the end of this month. We're really excited about it. It's going to be a hybrid job fair. And what I mean by hybrid is that we'll have probably a handful of on-site employers there. But we are partnering with PCs for People, a wonderful community organization. I can't tout how wonderful they are enough. And we will have access to computers there to be able to have a list of several different employers that people can apply to virtually right there on site. So that's what I mean by hybrid. Some of the applications will be able to be done virtually. Some of them will be able to actually be done in person there. So please stay tuned for more information about the hybrid job fair. I'm working with our marketing team around a flyer for that, and I will be sharing it via the Community Digest and the email, I forget what it's called, Community Connections emails that we all get. So stay tuned for more about that, and we would love anyone and everyone that is looking for work to come.
Great. Thank you so much, Brittany. This is an amazing program. I'm going to tap into and steal Patrice's question that she asked Alex and Stephanie. Why are you so passionate about this program?
Yeah, I'm really passionate about employment and training specifically because it impacts everything. I mean, if you think about how your economic resiliency, I mean, I know myself starting outside of college and kind of growing in my career, work and employment and training impacts every aspect of your life, from health to housing. It can really positively impact every single part of your life. And so I feel like that's why I'm passionate about it in particular. And I see the hope that our customers get when we're really able to connect with them and talk about what they would like to do long term. And that's something that, a lot of times people that are struggling don't get to think about. They don't get to think about their hopes and dreams. And so I love to be able to do this work because of that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Is there anyone that has any questions for Brittany and about her Snap to Success program? And while we're waiting for questions, Kathy, if you don't mind putting in the chat the 2 different communication platforms that Brittany was talking about, our Community Connections, which is an opportunity for partners to share resources with each other through a listserv. And then we also have our Community Digest, which is information specifically from DHS and sometimes at the city level as well that we send out weekly. Thanks so much, Kathy.
And Katie, I have another question for Brittany.
Yeah.
Brittany, you had mentioned, you know, if you don't know if someone fits for the program, send them anyways. You can chat with them. I'm wondering if you can speak to some of the unique populations or groups that people really should be referring over that they wouldn't normally think are a good fit for SNAP to Success.
Yeah, I think that really anyone that is looking to engage in employment and training long term, I think as you're working with individuals too, you know, if they're receiving public benefits, a lot of times that is, you know, an indicator that their wage capacity could very well utilize to be increased. So that's something that is kind of a key thing to think about when you're working with individuals. We oftentimes, those that are just outside after high school or maybe quite didn't finish high school, those are wonderful individuals to refer to us that sometimes don't, you wouldn't automatically think to refer them to SNAP to Success. Because we can offer them, you know, a plethora of services, whether it's, you know, soft skill building all the way to GED prep, and to be able to get that certification to have that increased wage capacity. I would also say, historically, Employment First tended to work with single adults more than anyone. We're actually working more now with individuals with families. So individuals with families that are looking to upskill or to that are needing assistance finding work, those individuals would also be good people to refer to us as well.
Thank you so much.
It looks like there's a question in the chat from Suzanne. Can other organizations participate in the fair?
I would love to discuss that. The space is a little limited at PCs for People, but definitely reach out to me and we can definitely explore that. I think we're trying to think around this job fair. How can we make it to have all of the services that an individual might need in order to go in without a role and have maybe childcare needs that they need to meet. Maybe they have transportation barriers, and leave potentially with a role and all of those different needs be met. So definitely reach out to me and I'd love to explore that. One thing that also came into my mind with Patrice's question that I wanted to mention is that this year, the food assistance eligibility rules changed quite a bit to where I believe about 20,000 college students now qualify for SNAP. So that's another targeted population that we're looking to work with, especially because of the supportive services we can offer. We can help with books, we can help with fees. And so if an individual is in college, could potentially qualify for SNAP, those are also ones that definitely refer to us.
We have one more question for you from Rachel. How can people apply to this program?
Yeah, I would say applying to it is really emailing us or calling that phone number is how you refer individuals to us. And the individuals are welcome to reach out to us directly. We also do receive referrals from our eligibility department when individuals apply for SNAP or during their recertification times. So I would say those are the best two avenues, that email and phone number on the screen to refer people to us. And like I said, if you are working with a population where you're consistently seeing individuals that would benefit from SNAP to Success's services, please contact me and I would love to discuss more on how we can build a kind of referral pipeline, as I call it, with our different community partners.
Great. Thank you so much, Brittany. I know this is such helpful information and such a needed resource in our community. So really appreciate your time being here. There's a question from Alex, if you don't mind answering that in the chat. And I'm going to move over to Melissa Mascarenas, who's going to be talking about our adult protective services that we have here at DHS. Brittany, if you don't mind hitting stop share. There we go.
All right, I'm going to share here. All right, does that look good?
It looks great.
All right. So as Katie said, I am Melissa Mascarenas. I am one of the supervisors for Adult Protective Services. And I'm just going to do a really brief, high overview of Adult Protective Services to include what we do, how do we get involved, and including who do you make a report to and when. So there's a lot of information I won't be able to go in great detail about, but at least you'll be able to come out with what we do and where to go from here. So let's get started. All right. Okay, so Adult Protective Services, what we do is we investigate allegations of abuse, neglect, and exploitation of an at-risk adult. So those are the two criteria that we must have when we get a report in order to investigate. And we do offer protective services for adults who are at risk for treatment. And we do often collaborate with law enforcement, city attorneys, district attorneys, and community partners and community agencies that do protect and support at-risk adults. So we have 4 priorities or pillars that we like to call that we must adhere to when we are involved, when it does meet our criteria to become involved. So first and foremost, we adhere to strict confidentiality rules when we do investigate and receive reports. We have to get consent from the adult to actually implement services, but not to investigate. So if we have an adult that we're investigating an allegation on, they don't need a consent to us investigating, but if we find that there are services necessary to mitigate risk factors, they can turn us away, and we have to walk away. So that's where consent comes from. Self-determination, again, as long as they have capacity, we are working with adults, and so they have a right to self-determination and make their own choices. And sometimes they're not great choices or healthy choices. And the last piece of our priorities is least restrictive intervention. APS really adheres to what is the least restrictive intervention to still make that individual safe in their own community and home. So again, we talked briefly about there is the right to refuse services, lifestyle choice alone, whether it's even dangerous or objectionable, they have the right to refuse that as long as they have the cognitive ability to do so. So refusing medical treatment, medication, choosing to abuse drugs and alcohol, living in a dirty, cluttered home, continuing to live with a perpetrator, etc. That's their right to do that.
Melissa, I'm going to ask you to slow down just a hair for our interpretation team.
Sure. So one of the big key components is what makes someone an at-risk adult. So we do serve at-risk adults that are 18 or older, but age alone does not make them an at-risk adult. So they have to be susceptible to mistreatment or self-neglect. So some of the examples that make them at risk could be that they're unable to manage their own daily needs safely or effectively, or they're unable to obtain or advocate for services that are necessary, or they lack sufficient understanding or capacity to make those decisions. And so that's a pretty narrow area for our at-risk population. So again, age alone does not necessarily make them an at-risk adult for us to get involved. Some examples of conditions could be dementia, physical or medical frailty, developmental disabilities, brain injury, or behavioral disorders or mental illness. And so we have some brief examples of what an at-risk adult is. So there could be a 67-year-old with dementia, a 20-year-old female with IDD, a 36-year-old person in a wheelchair who's wheelchair bound, and then a 60-year-old male chronic pain. But again, those in and of itself, we would need more information. How do those areas or disabilities impact their ability to meet their basic needs or advocate for themselves? And then who is not at risk? An adult of any age with decision-making capacity who they make poor decisions, such as lottery scams. We get those a lot. Is involved in a landlord-tenant dispute. They choose to live in a dirty home. They choose to make poor healthcare decisions. They abuse alcohol or drugs. So that is not an at-risk adult. So we do have some examples up above where just because somebody may have some mobility issues, such as using a wheelchair or cane, but they're able to meet their basic needs, that is not an at-risk adult. 70-year-old who's being discharged from a hospital or rehab facility, but has not been medically cleared or has been medically cleared and requires no protective services, not an at-risk adult. If in doubt, you're not sure if someone is an at-risk adult, still go ahead and give our hotline a call, and I'll provide that number at the end if you're unsure. So these are the areas of mistreatment that we do investigate. We do investigate self-neglect, caregiver neglect, physical abuse, sexual abuse, exploitation, and harmful act. And so I'm not going to go great detail just due to time, but self-neglect is something that the individual does as far as not meeting their basic needs. It could be a combination of things, but keep in mind, lifestyle choice in of itself or refusing medical care doesn't necessarily rise to self-neglect, especially if they have capacity to make those decisions. So what is self-neglect would be somebody that's not able to meet their day-to-day living skills, or being evicted, their home is hoarded. They're just unable to care for themselves because of some type of disability or cognitive disability. And again, we talked about lifestyle choice in and of itself does not rise to self-neglect. Refusing medications, refusing medical treatment, refusing alcohol, substance abuse treatment does not rise to self-neglect. So I'm going to skip through this just because we do have limited time, but some more examples of what to look for signs of self-neglect, which we talked about: unclean home, poor hygiene, untreated medical conditions, malnutrition. Caretaker neglect occurs when an at-risk adult, they could be an elderly person, but their caretaker fails to meet their basic needs, such as adequate food, clothing, shelter, psychological care, physical care, medical care, or supervision. Again, the individual that's the caretaker must be acting in a caretaker capacity. So just because someone's living with a roommate or spouse or partner doesn't automatically make them a caretaker. So when making a report, we really need to provide enough detail to show that that person is acting in a caretaker capacity. So a caretaker can be anybody who's paid or unpaid, but the most important thing is that it's somebody who is acting as a caretaker or a caretaker role. So it could, again, could be paid, unpaid, facility, staff, family member, friend, etc. Some signs to look for: a lack of supervision, poor health, nutrition, weight loss, environment is unkempt, not clean. They're lacking medical treatment or care, just kind of basic living skills that are not being provided for. Physical abuse is when someone causes bodily harm to an at-risk adult or elder or an adult, causing physical pain or bruising or unreasonable confinement or restraint. Now, this is conducted by somebody the person knows. So if somebody is assaulted by some stranger, that does not rise to our definition of physical abuse. Indicators of abuse: repeated visits to the emergency room, bruises or injuries, unconvincing explanation of injuries. The person, at-risk adult, is isolated for family or friends. And then another form of abuse is sexual abuse. So don't want to, again, we have a limited time to go on all these details, but physical signs of sexual abuse, behavioral signs of sexual abuse to look at when considering that that may be abuse allegation. It is not a very commonly reported allegation that we experience. And it means subjecting an at-risk adult to unlawful sexual conduct or contact. Exploitation definitely is on the rise. We are seeing a lot more of these allegations. So it means taking an at-risk adult's money or other assets against his or her will or without their knowledge. It also means deceiving, harassing, or intimidating, or using undue influence. Now, I will say we do often see police reports involving at-risk adults where they're being a victim of fraud or scam. And that's not necessarily something we will investigate automatically, just because that's more of an organized crime ring and the adult has fallen victim to it by somebody they don't know. So examples of exploitation, again, it could be anybody from guardian, conservator, or rep payee not honoring their duties, family member that's abusing their power as a POA, utilizing undue influence to spend their money, or threatening nursing home placement if they don't spend money on them. This is our newest allegation of mistreatment as harmful act. And so this is something where it still has to be done by a person that knows the client or has some type of relationship, but doesn't necessarily rise to physical abuse, caretaker neglect, or exploitation. So this means an act committed against an at-risk adult by a person with a relationship when such an act is not, obviously, as I said, defined as abuse, neglect, or exploitation, but causes harm to their health, safety, or welfare of the adult. So reporting, mandatory reporting involves adults who are either 70 plus or individuals that have intellectual developmental disabilities. So that is a criteria. They have to be 70 and older or have an IDD diagnosis. And there's an allegation of either physical abuse, sexual abuse, caretaker neglect, exploitation, or harmful act. Those reports must directly go to your local law enforcement. So since we are Denver County, it would go to Denver County Police if the allegation or abuse took place in Denver County, then it would go to DPD. And if you're a mandatory reporter, that's the first thing you do. And then what will happen is we will get that report within 24 hours from DPD. This is just a long list of people who are mandatory reporters. So if you're a professional working with at-risk adults, most likely you are a mandatory reporter. And as you may have noticed, self-neglect is not a mandatory report. So even if they're 70 or IDD and it's self-neglect, that goes directly to APS's hotline. So the only reports that go to DPD or law enforcement are 70 and older, that is abuse, neglect, exploitation, or harmful act, not self-neglect. Any other forms of mistreatment of somebody who's not 70 or older or IDD, you're urged to call APS directly. If you make a report to DPD first, we will get that report within 24 hours and adult protection will determine if it meets our criteria. If we get a report directly from APS to APS, we will cross-report that to DPD and they will determine if it meets their criteria for assignment. So when making a report, as you can see, this is our hotline number, the 720-944-2994. That is our hotline. So if you're not making a mandatory report, you would call us. And make sure you're providing as much information as possible, even when you call DPD for a mandatory report. Make sure you have their name and address, including information of what makes them at risk, so very descriptive information about their ability to care for themselves or not. Describe the mistreatment or abuse allegation. What did you observe? If there's injuries, what injuries? Did they experience pain? We'll also need the perpetrator's information, phone number, address, and any other relevant information that you think we need to know. And what happens after report? So we'll determine if it meets our response. We'll share it with law enforcement. We'll assign it to a caseworker who has 3 business days to make an initial unannounced visit to the client. And with that includes an investigation. Sometimes we'll do a joint investigation if it's necessary, such as law enforcement or maybe with their local community center boards, such as Rocky Mountain Human Services. And then we do offer protective services if it's necessary, if there's significant risk factors that are not mitigated. Again, we need consent from the client to put protective services in place. So again, we assist with adults who have actual potential harm or risk and they're being neglected or mistreated. So we will implement a case plan if they're consenting to that. There's a variety of things that can be implemented and we often use our community partners to help support us in getting services in place. Again, we want least restrictive intervention. So we're not going to be quick to wanting somebody to be placed in a nursing home. We want to make sure that that person has had the ability to try all means necessary or interventions to stay in their own home and try to be successful. If those have not been attempted, we'll try to push that and encourage that to get in place. If those have proven unsuccessful, then we'll encourage looking at other forms of services or interventions that would best meet their needs. And then a couple of years ago, we did have a perpetrator registry that was passed. So if we do substantiate on a perpetrator for abuse or neglect, that person is entered into our database, and there is a formal letter that's provided, and the person that's substantiated on can go through due process to appeal that. And that is our CAMDERS unit that does the perp registry and oversees it. So here are our contact numbers. Again, there's our Denver County Adult Protection Hotline number. Call us for any reports that are not mandatory reports. If it's mandatory, please call Denver Police. If it happened to occur in Denver County, you would call their non-emergency line. If it is an emergency, you want to go to 911. Adult protection does not do welfare checks. That is something DPD would do. And then we would be cross-reported that outcome of that report. And then district attorney's office, if there's concerns of fraud, like I said, we get a lot of fraud reports that don't necessarily rise to our mistreatment definition, or they don't meet at-risk criteria. So if you have a family member or client that doesn't rise to those definitions, but they're experiencing fraud, there's the fraud number as well. And that should be it. Questions?
So much, Melissa. We have in the chat, somebody was asking if they can get the slideshow. I think Kathy's going to help get that shared out. Perfect. Thanks, Kathy. Anyone else have any other questions for Melissa? It looks like we have a question from Monique. What do you do when they don't know they need help?
That's a good question, and it can be kind of tough. If let's just say it's already assigned and they don't know they need help, I think the first thing would be to determine whether or not, is it because they have some cognitive limitations? Do they have some memory issues? And so we'd want to make sure they've been seen by a doctor to assess that further, whether or not they have the capacity to understand whether or not they need help. So I think that would be the first thing. Again, we can't force that. We would do our best to try to get them evaluated. And also through the investigation, call those people, like call supports, collaterals, interview them to try to get some idea of their capacity and ability to make decisions, to see if there's a history of not caring for themselves. Is this something new? Is this just a longstanding history and they just don't want to follow through on things? It's a lifestyle choice, for example, or sometimes it is just, wanting to ignore it, or it's just because they don't understand what's really going on. So that's what we'd have to weed out if we're open in the case, to see, do they really understand what's going on? And if they don't, can we get an evaluation to support that? Can we have family or community partners come in to help support them so that they can be successful in their own community? But it's a good question. It's a fine line of whether or not they just don't want help, or is it because they don't understand they need it and there's some other issues going on?
Muted. First one of the day. Sorry. Melissa, why are you passionate about this work?
Thanks for asking that. I've been in APS for 5 years, but I've actually worked with adults for quite longer than that. My biggest population passion has been adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. I actually worked for Rocky Mountain for over 12 years. And so it's just something that I've always enjoyed working with that population. Concern whenever somebody's being taken advantage of, but also wanting to honor their right to self-determination and least restricted intervention. I mean, we're all adults. We want that dignity. And just because you have a disability, whether it's IDD or dementia, everybody deserves that dignity to be able to make choices and participate in decision-making and ensuring that they're safe, and also having the ability to choose, hey, I like my life the way it is and I don't want you involved in that. And so making sure that we're available and honoring those choices for them. So that's my passion in working with this population. And it's also great to see when we can intervene and we can help people remain in their homes. I think it's the biggest piece of all. We're not big on wanting people to be removed from their home or have a court-appointed decision maker. There's all last resort interventions because they're pretty intense and restrictive. So not only just investigating abuse and neglect and ensuring our at-risk adults are safe and having those risks mitigated, but also honoring their right to self-determination.
Thank you so much. And thank you to you and your team for the often intense work that this is, but so critical and important for protecting our community. So just wanted to thank you for that. With that, we are going to move over to Kathy, catch up with Chris and Kathy, who are going to be helping us give some updated information about our different assistance programs. But feel free, if you have any other further questions for Melissa, to throw them in the chat while we get switched over here. Well, Kathy, we are super excited to have you. I know that everyone is, always looking forward to seeing all of the different updates. This past year, with all of the different changes, things have just been coming down the pipeline like a whirlwind. So I will let you take it away.
Oh, first off, catching up with Kathy and Chris. And Chris is out in the community doing an event today, so I miss him, but here we go. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Also, I'm going to put a link in the folder. And this is a link to hyperlinks that we've been talking about today, or we'll talk about throughout this presentation. So don't worry about having to go back in and grab all those. Just go to this link to get the hyperlinks. So I wanted to put that out there. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick. And there's a lot going on, as I mentioned. Yesterday, Governor Polis, the public health emergency order was changed basically to the COVID-19 disaster recovery order. So you can go on to the state webpage to get more information, but I wanted to let you know that will impact how folks will get the maximum allotment for food. For July, that was just issued July 7th. It's going to be issued through July 12th. So wanted to make sure you're aware of that. And it sounds like it may be for the duration of this COVID-19 disaster recovery order. So I wanted to make sure that you were aware of that. Also, the interviews, there was a waiver in place that didn't require an interview for food assistance. That ended in June. So I know that can be very difficult, especially for our chronically homeless individuals. Wanted to make sure you're aware of that. A client applying for food will be expected to have that interview. And at this point, it's typically a phone interview. The other piece that's been going on now also is for food assistance, you have a 6-month recertification, and then you also have a 24-month recertification, and that is for individuals that are elderly, disabled, and they only have unearned income. So that interview now is waived. The client can request an interview if they have been denied or they have questions about their case, but that's a great waiver for our individuals that are elderly and disabled. Okay, and then again, this is on assistance updates for food. So what we're talking about are assistance programs and all the updates. The pandemic EBT is electronic benefit transfer, that's the card, but basically pandemic EBT, the payments went out for May and June, so they have been issued. If you're having difficulty though with getting those payments in July, you do want to reach out to the support center and you do have the latest update. That's why I would always recommend you go to their webpage, and I'll go ahead and pull that up real quick and pull it over to that screen. So let me know if you can see this. I love when I can't see it, but
we can see it.
Yes. So this is the page from that hyperlink. Again, I gave you that list, but it'll tell you everything you need to know about pandemic EBT. And again, this was the latest update here on June 23rd. So you can go to that hyperlink. This childcare pandemic EBT is really exciting because it's for children under 6 years of age. And it's basically going to be a payment from October 2020 to May, where those clients that have children under 6 may qualify for this pandemic EBT. I can't tell you how excited I am about that. Also for summer pandemic EBT, they are submitting a plan, the state is, to the federal government, and they're waiting on that approval. So that's just a little bit about pandemic EBT, childcare EBT, and then also the summer EBT. All right, on to the next assistance program. That's the medical assistance and the public health emergency. As you're all aware, many individuals have been locked in, which means they were not going to lose their benefit on Medicaid if they were over income, etc. So they've been locked in for the duration. The last announcement that came from the Federal Health and Human Services basically stated that the emergency was going to start again April 21st and is expected to end on the 20th. That being said, they have to give us 60 days notice that's going to happen. We expect to get an announcement possibly a couple days before July 20th. That's what happened in April, but just stay tuned. And again, another hyperlink here to take you to their page. And the last announcement again was back in April. So come to this hyperlink if you want the latest and greatest information about what's happening with the public health emergency and the locked in Medicaid. And by the way, our agency is also in the process of hiring staff, supervisors and lead workers to help manage the caseload once the public health emergency ends. So I wanted to give you a heads up about that. Okay, this is huge. This is the eviction moratorium is ending July 31st. It's ending this month. So we need to be able to provide those resources to our clients that may lose their housing. And so what I wanted to offer is the Colorado Emergency Rental Assistance Program, ERAP. I'm going to say it's ERAP. We want you to direct your clients to go again to another hyperlink or website and start registering there. And I'm going to pull it up because I like showing things. That's why I do navigator training. I try to teach you to navigate. But on this website, it shows you information about ERAP, landlord application, tenant application. You can start here. And then what happens is they triage the case and they direct it to different agencies or partners. So that's a good place to start if you know someone that needs this kind of help. You can see here also you can call or text, and they have the times available, and they have, sounds like they have an abundance of staff to help manage this program. So please, please, as we're getting closer, I would tell your clients, let's get on this and let's get them the help. That being said, Denver Human Services and the core division, community outreach and resource engagement, that's what I'm part of. We also have general assistance and emergency assistance. And what that entails is all these different programs. We can help with eviction. We can also help with first month's rent, mortgage assistance, prevention, deposit, Excel. And who can we help? Well, you see here, we've got homeowners, individuals that are experiencing homelessness, families or individuals. We say Denver County residents. I know many other counties offer similar programs as well because of funding from the American Rescue Plan. And then also the undocumented, we were able to assist with that as well. And so that being said, we're going to ask for some different types of, proof of income. We're going to ask for resources like your bank account, bank statement, and also the picture IDs for all the adults. So again, we want to direct you to the information on how to apply. I want to let you know in that link I gave you, you will see program flyers. You can see the application that you can download and it's fillable. You also have our flyer that has a phone number on it and tells you more about all of our general assistance programs. And then you also have the application checklist. And this is what I love looking at because it kind of lets you know what you need to have prepared if you are applying for emergency assistance. Also understand this, for food, med, and cash programs, we look at gross income. However, for this emergency assistance, you'll notice this is net monthly income. And so many folks are available, they're eligible for these programs. So it gives you more information about what kind of documentation we're going to look for the different types of assistance. So again, you could always go to that link that I provided and get the flyers, download the application, as well as seeing that eligibility criteria checklist. Another great way to do it, besides calling, is to go online. And I'm going to demonstrate that also. You have the online emergency assistance screening tool. And the reason why I love this is because I have so many community partners that are trying to help individuals. And I think of somebody that's homeless and doesn't have a way to apply, maybe. As a community partner, you have the ability to help fill this out for the client. And then when it says, do you have a household emergency, you can go in there, mention you are a community partner helping a client apply, and put in your contact information. So even if we can't get a hold of the client right away, at least we'll be able to reach out to you. And to me, that's amazing. So a little bit, the last piece on being able to apply. So again, making the phone call, applying online. You can email, you could fax, you can drop off at any of our locations, but you can also call for the document runner service. And the document runner service will actually bring the application to the client, and then we in turn will go pick it up after it's done. And they do that same job for individuals that are applying for food, med, and cash. If they're brand new applicants, they can help with that. They also help with child support payments if someone needs to pay or needs an application for that. So that's a great service that some of your clients may need. And they can, like I said, they'll bring it to you and then pick up the application afterward. Okay, another great resource, especially with the eviction moratorium, is through the Department of Housing Stability, also called HOST. I'm taking you to their webpage. In their webpage, they have different resources for residents as well as partners like you. Resident resources, you will see here, information on eviction and foreclosure, find a rental unit, find shelter. If you come here to eviction and foreclosure and scroll down, it's going to give you foreclosure assistance applications or information. It's going to talk more about the eviction moratorium. And there is a booklet for evictions. Like I said, if you get a chance, I would take a look, honestly, at all of our web pages because there's so many resources there. Okay, whew, that's a lot. Let's keep going. We also still have funding under the Colorado Works TANF umbrella. TANF is Temporary Assistance to Needy Families. And the common denominator is you have to have a child in the household, or it could be a kinship case where you're a grandparent taking care of a grandchild, a fifth-degree relationship. Bottom line is we want folks to apply for this disaster assistance. Even if you're not eligible for Colorado Works TANF, you can still apply for this assistance. And we're talking about a household making less than $75,000 a year, and they can get up to typically $4,000 because of this COVID emergency. Typically, I think of someone that had their car break down, needed it fixed in order to get to their job. And for them, it wasn't safe to get on the bus to get to their job. That would be one example of a COVID emergency. Also, you have the food and school supplies, etc. So you can apply a couple different ways. You can go online through Peak to apply. You can call our call center 720-944-4DHS. And you're always welcome to reach out to me if you have any questions. And of course, I'll put my email in chat once I'm done. This is huge. And this is starting this month, actually on the 15th. It's the child tax credit as part of the American Rescue Plan. And it provides the largest child tax credit. And so most individuals, if they have filed, through the IRS and they have received stimulus checks, et cetera, it's going to be an automatic deposit. And again, I mentioned this month, July 15th is when the payments are supposed to start going out. And it looks at the increase initially was $2,000 per child. It's now, and that's for age 6, children over the age of 6. So that was bumped up to $3,000. And then 6 and under, it was bumped up from $2,000 to $3,600. So again, that's huge. The age limit also has been bumped up to 17. So this talks more about the working families and how they can get the full credit and if you're eligible. Again, bottom line is I'm going to give a link for the website that answers so many questions for you. But what you're looking at for each month, if a child is 6 to 17, it's going to be $250 per month per child. And 6 years and older, it's $300 each month. And we're talking about, again, I mentioned about the direct deposit. It should be happening. If it isn't, it may be a check will come in the mail. Also, individuals that have never filed before, maybe because they've never made enough money to be required to file, they can also go on right now and apply for this program. So again, there's another hyperlink. Going to open it up for you. This is what the page looks like. You know, I know with hyperlinks, sometimes I'm always worried about what I open, but this is everything you need to know about the child tax credit. So that's exciting news for many of our folks that have children. Okay. This is the big question we get also from this. If I accept this child tax credit, is it going to impact my benefits? And the answer is no, it won't. We're talking about Medicaid, SNAP, SSI, TANF, WIC, Section 8, SSDI, or public housing. It's not going to be considered income for any family. So this is awesome. You can answer that question for your clients if they're afraid, if they've never filed before. And again, individuals that are undocumented that have children that are US citizens, they can also apply for this program as well. They're going to ask for some other information, IN numbers, et cetera. Actually, tax information numbers. Go to the website to get all the information you need on that, honestly. It's a nighttime reading. Food Bank of the Rockies. We have a collaboration or partnership with Food Bank of the Rockies where the Food Bank of the Rockies brings their mobile big truck full of food, and we help disperse the food. It's a drive-up situation. Denver Botanic Gardens has been coming and bringing fresh produce. Also, the Denver Public Library brings their bookmobile. Bottom line is it's a great service that we provide in collaboration with Food Bank of the Rockies. We wanted to let you know that for the next event that was at Empower Field has now been moved back to Castro. So again, another link for you with the updated flyers that you will see here. The East Building is one of our other locations, and this flyer is still the same. However, you'll notice for the next flyer in orange, it shows how we are now back at our Castro building. So we're real excited, and that one will be on July 26th. The East location will be on July 16th. So please share that. We would love to see you come out and get some produce. If you have any other questions, Brooke Fisher is the site coordinator for Denver Human Services Core Division, and she manages the GIVE program, which is the charitable arm of Denver Human Services. Okay, I'm almost done. We are asking for more input from you. We have a survey that we're putting out to ask you, what do you want to see next in our Navigator trainings? We offer our Navigator 1.0 training, and we've been doing it probably now for 9 years. Been with the agency almost 15 years. So we are making changes, and we want some input from you. So I have provided also on that list the link to go into the survey. Now, let's say you've never signed up for Navigator or you want to attend again. You're always welcome to do that. Currently, our enrollment, I think we're full through September, but also I wanted to let you know, you can reach out to me at any time and I can do a training just for your organization. As few as 2 people, up to 40. I'm always available and willing to help out in any way I can. So that's just a little bit about some of the assistance program, some of the changes. Oh my goodness. Does anybody have any questions? I'm going to look in chat. Oh my goodness. Yep.
We just had some confirmation about where they can access all of that. So we went ahead and dropped that link to rule all of the links down in there. And so, yep, Christy, actually that flyer is in that link. So if you follow that in, it'll be towards the bottom. It'll say Food Bank of the Rockies flyer, and then you'll hit that one to be able to see that flyer there.
And actually, I want to share what it looks like. It's very simple, but it looks like this. So you have the unsung heroes, you got the family law, open forum, snap to success, the PowerPoint, et cetera, et cetera. So it's all on one page, so you do not have to worry about going through chat and trying to copy and paste everything. So I wanted to make sure you knew that. So that's it for me, unless anybody has any other questions. But we would love for you, honestly, to do that survey as well, because it's real important that we get input, and we want to take a deeper dive into sharing information. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Kathy. You always are a plethora of knowledge for all of our divisions in our department. Does anyone else have any questions for Kathy? All righty, well, I'm gonna go ahead and get us turned over for our last couple of questions that we have here for our Kahoot. So if you are able to, please go ahead and pop over there with our, we'll put it in the chat again if you haven't been a part of it. So I'll give everyone just a quick second here. And I'm going to go ahead and get us kick-started with our next question. In order to qualify for SNAP to Success, you must be successful, you must be a SNAP recipient, you must not be a SNAP recipient, and you must be a college student. Brittany, thank you so much for sharing about that program. Let's see who is listening. And maybe this is a tricky one too that I can explain as well. Awesome. So you must be a SNAP recipient or eligible to be a SNAP recipient. If you have any questions about that, you can reach out to Brittany as well. All right, it looks like BP is on the rise. That is our winner for this round. Let's see who else we got for this next one. Adult Protective Services does not investigate reports of alleged mistreatment against at-risk adults, collaborate with law enforcement to protect and support at-risk adults, offer protective services for adults who are at risk for mistreatment, or intervene with an adult of decision-making capacity using drugs or alcohol. This is a tough one. Awesome, you guys are so smart. I think I just have two more for you. Oh, BP taking the cake. All right, true or false? Food assistance interviews are now required for first-time applicants. True or false? There's been so many different changes, particularly in the food realm, I feel like, from this pandemic. All right, let's see who's got it. Okay. Did anyone dethrone BP? Yes, awesome. All right, I think I've got one last question for you. If I sign up for the child tax credit, will it affect my other government benefits? So, or it will affect my other government benefits, true or false? Whoever wins this will be our winner for today. And then we'll just follow up with a couple of brief announcements. All right, good job, guys. Okay, let's see who took to the podium. In third place, we have Archie. M was second, and number one winner of our $5 gift card is Lissy, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. So Lissy, if you don't mind contacting me or just raising your hand in the chat, I can be sure to get you set up with that $5 gift card. We're so thankful that you were able to attend today. So I'm going to share my screen with any last minute updates we have for our other community network meetings that we have coming up. So our next meeting is mental health for you and your clients. So we will first be talking about any partner resources for your clients regarding mental health, specifically behavioral health. So we'll have the Center for Trauma and Resilience participating, the Maria Drosty Counseling Center, and the Asian Pacific Development Center. And then the second half of that meeting will be truly for you and your team. So we know as community partners, you are constantly working in the community, and that can really weigh heavy sometimes. So we'll be offering a free mini training on compassion fatigue from DDPHE, from the Department of Public Health and Environment. And then they'll be sharing some of the other free trainings that they have as well. And if you want to gift yourself with a 5-minute guided meditation, we'll also be having that too. And then coming down the lines, we have other upcoming community network meetings for housing and homelessness on September 10th. Again, a meeting that was just like this today for DHS program updates, where you'll be able to see some other programs that you might not have been familiar with. And November 5th, food security and holiday resources. If you have any questions or suggestions about things that you would like to see in these meetings, please feel free to email me. My email is on the screen there. And then I'll have Kathy drop in the chat what she dropped in earlier with the 2 different ways of communicating with us and getting resources. So we have our partner to partner list serve, which is called Community Connections. So you're able to utilize that if you have job fairs or any hirings within your organization. And then the second one is the Community Digest, which is information that comes from us here at DHS. So thank you all so much for joining us, and we can't wait to see you next time. I'm going to hang on the line for just a couple of minutes in case there's any questions, but otherwise, happy Friday, and we will see you next month for mental health.